Hi, and welcome to another episode of the Elevated Beauty Podcast. I'm your host, Emily Fouts, and in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about Instagram Reels. So I'm going to share with you guys how I keep them fun and original and how they are useful for my business. All right, so last year, I think it was February or March of 2021 is really when I started my Instagram page professionally, and that's when I was noticing other creators doing Reels. And I think that Reels had just recently came onto Instagram at that point before it was, TikTok. But, and I do TikToks, but most of my videos and stuff I like to keep on Instagram because that's where most of my audience is. So when I first started it, I was noticing Reels and other people doing it and thinking, oh my gosh, like people are being so vulnerable, just putting their stuff out there. I'm so intimidated by that. Like I would never do that. But then I realized it was such a good opportunity, and really for people to admire you or want to follow you, they want to follow someone genuine. So I felt like I just needed to be my vulnerable and genuine self and take the plunge and do the Reels. So I dipped my toe in it at first. I kind of just really pushed myself to do it. I was still kind of self-conscious and intimidated about making videos of myself and putting them on the internet. But I started having fun with it. And I remember I was working here at Hands of Favor Luxury Beauty here in Colorado Springs, and our assistant was younger. She was 19, and she would always show me these Reels or TikToks, and she's like, you should do these. And I'm like, oh, I would never do that. I could never. But now I have so much fun with it, and it is really useful. And if you are a creator on Instagram, you definitely need to be doing Reels, because a lot of people don't even, like my husband, he doesn't view his feed. He's just always viewing Reels. And so, of course, if you follow someone, their Reels are going to pop up in your Reel feed. So I do Reels like every third post. So once or twice a week, I'll post a Reel. On my feed, I do like a graphic, and then I'll do a photo or a Reel. And so I kind of go back and forth with my Reels between like client content and then my own just original content that I make for Reels, like that are educational or that are funny. And so, like I said, I have fun with it now. And so what I do is I'll just go through, I'll just be viewing Reels. And if I find an audio that I like or I think is funny, I try to imagine, how can I make this relevant with skincare or lashes or anything that has relevancy into what I do? So that's in the back of my mind every time I'm hearing a Reel audio. And I consider myself quite a creative person, so I just always try. I don't really like to copy other people's Reels. I've seen a couple and I'm like, oh, I love that. Like I need to make it my own. But so I just really base what I'm going to create my Reels off of based on the audio and just try and come up with ideas. And it's totally fine if you are inspired by other people, but it also is very important that you stay genuine and original, because people don't want to follow you because you're doing the same thing everyone else is doing. So you really need to make things your own. Even if you are inspired and get an idea from someone else, you need to kind of recreate it. So that's my biggest tip. And then, make sure that you have good lighting. I use a ring light or I'll use natural light. And then I have a few filters that I'll use. I don't change the filters up all the time. I try to keep it kind of consistent. And yeah, there's an algorithm, of course, on Instagram. So like I said, I will post a Reel like probably every 3 days. So you need to make sure that you're being consistent with your Reel postings, because if you're only posting like one Reel a month, Instagram's algorithm is not going to put your video out there. So I don't get as many views as some people might, because I only have like 450 followers, and then that's a big thing, is like how many followers you have, because like if someone enjoys it or they find it relevant, then they'll share it and the audience will grow from that way. But if you're consistently posting reels, Instagram's algorithm will push you up a little further. You also need to make sure that you're using hashtags. You need to make sure that you're putting in a location. So I usually just put in Colorado Springs, but something I've recently been doing is adding the location of like popular places in Colorado Springs. Like there's this place called Coati. It's like a community place. It's kind of like nightlife, but in the morning they have like breakfast, smoothies, and yoga and different things like that. So make sure that you're doing hashtags and location and that you're being consistent, and Instagram's algorithm will push you up a bit. So I think the highest viewed reel I have right now is between 7 and 8,000. And so, like I said, I have like 450 followers right now. So 7 and 8,000 is a much larger audience than what I have. So that lets me know that I'm kind of doing the right thing and I'm being pushed out there because of my consistency. So that's probably my biggest tip. And of course, like if you're a shy person, if you don't have a personality, like a bolder personality, it might be a little harder, but you're you, and as long as you're being genuine, people are going to follow you, because not everyone wants to follow someone that has a bold personality. You might want to follow someone that you relate with more. Maybe if you're like more quiet, sweeter, I don't know, softer type of person. So you don't have to be bold and out there and everything. I kind of have like a versatile personality, so I guess I would call it an extroverted introvert. So I like to spend time at home and just chill. I don't really like to socialize too much, but when I am socializing, I like to, be out there. I like to talk to people, and I like to put my whole self forward. Like, I'm just a very genuine person, and it doesn't matter who I'm around, I'm going to be me. Like, I don't have a different persona or whatever that I put on for like new people. So, yeah, on my Instagram, you might see that personality that's like outgoing and social and like funny and comedic. And that is a big part of me, but also like I'm a really chill person. So you probably won't see the really chill side of me, because that doesn't really have much to offer on my reels. And that's just like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, so just put your personality, as much of your personality, I guess, as you can into your reels, and just keep it genuine and original. And I guess I would also say the way that I communicate with people is a lot of the times through humor. So I try to put quite a bit of humor in my Instagram reels, because that's what I like to share. Like, me and my husband, we share memes all the time. So I just like to make funny reels. And of course, they're relevant in the skincare community. So not like everyone might not necessarily think it's funny, but if you're interested in the skincare community, or if you are also an esthetician, then you're going to find it funny. So that's mostly what I like to post. And then, of course, my main audience is my clients. So I try to do educational stuff, or, things that my clients might be thinking, or it's like different point of views. And one more tip that I might add is like just to make your reels easy to understand. So don't put too much caption in the reel, because I personally know myself, if I'm watching a reel and I have to read all of this stuff in like this 12-second clip, that's pretty impossible and it's annoying, and I'm just going to swipe right past it. So make sure that the audio kind of relates with the story that you're telling, and then make sure that you're not telling a story that's like too long, and people just can easily understand the message that you're trying to send without 10 sentences. If I ever need to elaborate on some type of education or something that I'm trying to push in my reel, I put that in the actual caption. I don't put that in the video itself. I personally also think it's important to keep in mind of like your backdrop. So I don't really like to film a lot of reels at my house. I have before, and I'll just do it in front of natural light, in front of one of my big windows, and then I have like a blank wall behind me. But yeah, just kind of be conscious of your background. I do most all of my reels in my treatment room, and I just do it on my favorite wall. So I have some brass wall art that I have on my wall where the clients sit, and they have a little chair and everything. So I like to film there, and then I also have another wall that has a sunset lamp that cast on that wall. So those are kind of the two walls that I like to have behind me, and it just kind of creates a consistency as well. Now TikTok is a whole nother beast, and like my thing is that I like the video quality better on Instagram. And like I said, I'm more active on my Instagram. Like that's how I communicate with people and everything. Like when I'm on TikTok and I'm scrolling through, like I'll like stuff or I'll save it and I'll send it to my friends. But there's not like, you can't share, I don't know if you can or not, you can't share the TikTok on like a TikTok story or anything. So it's kind of just more for like viewing pleasure. So I feel like the outreach isn't going to be as big there, but the audience is big. So I will save my reels and then I'll put them on TikTok. And sometimes if TikTok has an audio that I really like, I'll create a TikTok and I'll either just keep it on there, or then I'll save it and I'll put it in my Instagram story, and I'll be like, hey, go view my follow my TikTok for, you know, videos that I don't post on here, because, you know, I view on Instagram Reels and TikTok because it's kind of like a different audience, and sometimes just different types of trends. So I hope that you maybe benefited from this. If you have not jumped into the Reel game yet, or TikTok or any of that, I'm sure that some of this could help you. Like I said, it was really intimidating at first, but once you kind of dip your toe into it, it can be really fun. So thank you guys so much for listening, and as always, I will see you next Monday, 8 a.m. Mountain Standard Time, for another episode.